go live. It's not going live. There's an error. Are we on? We're going live. Let's do the intro. And hello again. Hello. Welcome to the Absolute Football Podcast. As always, fun with the start. We like it. It was Twitter. Twitter was playing annoying. That's why it wasn't going live, you see. Twitter. Damn you, Elon. Damn you. But we've made it. I think we're on all the platforms. We're here for another absolutely Premier League show talking about Matchday 25. That season is going faster and faster and faster. The first of this week's Absolute Football Podcast shows. And I've got two. I've got one very smiley person in particular, and I'll find out, I'm sure, why very shortly. Rebecca is back with us. Hello, Rebecca. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Slowly getting over my cold, which has made me sound like a man for the past few days, but we're fine. We're getting there. Yeah, very, very happy as an Everton fan, and I'm sure we'll get into it because we have 2 matches to cover. So, yeah, I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I have indeed. I'm not doing too bad. I'm a little bit achy. Tennis yesterday, but I'm all right. It was worth it in the end. The result was worth it in the end. So apart from that, everything's pretty good. Football's another matter, but we'll just talk about all the other games, so it won't be a problem. And of course, a man who never causes a problem, a man who's always here bringing us cheer, Senor Grimmy. Good evening to you.
Hi, Sam. I see you whinging about after a session of tennis. I played 5 sessions of badminton the past week and I'm okay. So what's your excuse?
Well, because you run around in tennis. You don't just flap around at a shop.
I think you'll find I do run around in badminton quite a lot. It was quite extensive. 5 hours. Five sessions of 2 hours a pop.
That's pretty.
Anyway, I'm well. To answer your question, seems we're starting off on the wrong foot, but yeah,
glad to hear it. But we are here to talk Premier League, super duper Premier League football, no doubt about it. And Rebecca can contain her smiles no more, because as anyone who's watched the pod during the season, Rebecca's had a fair share of hardships being an Everton fan. It's been difficult at points this season, probably last season, the season before last season. But suddenly there's some positivity on the horizon. Where should we start with Everton over these past 2 weeks? Shall we start with the Merseyside derby? No, we're going back a week, but I think we have to talk about it. Rebecca, take it away.
Yeah, there is quite a lot to talk about with the Merseyside derby. I mean, what a match. It shows how far we have come in such a short time under Moyes already. The players have their confidence back. I think Beto is a key example of that. The chances he's taking, the goals he's scoring, it's a completely different Beto under Moyes than what we had under Daesh. And the fans have got the confidence back and the backing of the team. It's one of them where we're going into matches feeling more positive. We've not got this thing of, I'll be happy if we only get beat 3-0 this week rather than 4, or if we don't concede in the last minute to get beat 3-2. It's like we don't want to get our hopes up too high, but it's like we finally got the positivity of thinking, right, well, we're not just going to settle for a draw. We're going to keep pushing. We're going to try and get the win and things like that. And the match, well, it was a Merseyside, like that's the best way to describe it. It was a Merseyside derby. Everything happened. There were sending offs at the end. There was controversial calls. There was goals. There was just a bit of everything. I mean, fair play to Everton. We came out playing as we hoped we would. Took an early-ish lead through a quick free kick, and Beto found the end of it. Little through ball, got it past Alisson, 1-0 up, and you're thinking, right, things are looking up here. You don't want to get too far ahead of yourself because, again, it's Liverpool. We all know what they can do. We all know what they've done over the season, but they did go on to score 2, and that is all I will say on Liverpool. So, well done. one of the standout players for me at the moment is James Garner. Having him back shows how much we missed of him. His work ethic and just everything that the way he runs the midfield at the minute, he is so solid for us, and he is a big standout, and he was really missed. And another miss for us will be Illiman and Dye. He picked up an injury in the derby. It was I think he's done his MCL, which is a new one for me, but
it's still got cruciate ligament in there, so I'd imagine not very good.
Yeah, no. We were all saying we think it's the 3 letters, and then they whipped out a new letter rather than an A, it's an M. So throwing us all off. But no, I think Illiman and Dye will be a huge miss. We've all seen what he's done with Everton. He's our leading goal scorer at the minute. He is an incredibly talented player, and he is going to be missed. But we do have Alcaraz to fill in for him, and we will get onto him in the Palace match a bit more. But the 98th minute came. So did a cross from Mikolenko, which got a little flick from Timur Abuman, found James Starkowski, and what a strike that was. If it was you'd think he was a striker, is what a lot of people are saying in terms of the goal, but he took it well. He did what he had to do, and he's currently challenging Phil Jagielka for one of the most memorable goals in a Merseyside derby. But both number 6s, centre back, so I think they're sharing the award at the minute. But I don't think it could have been any more fitting way to end the Merseyside derby at Goodison, the last one at Goodison, a goal in front of the Gladys Street. I think that it's written in history that it had to happen, but it was one of them. We did have a few spells where we were thinking, oh God, we're not going to get back into this one. There was a 10-minute drought where you're like, oh, just come on, just get it in, do whatever you can. And it was a few crosses that you could tell the players were getting frustrated with themselves, because I think Miko had one that nearly hit the corner flag on the opposite side, and you're just what are we doing here? And then Tarky's pass on the edge of the box, it's like he could feed a shot. We also had the Jared goal that got ruled offside, I think it was. So there were quite a few things that were oh God, we can see this not going our way. But I think 98th minute equaliser is everything that we could ask for. And then I absolutely love Abdoulaye Doucouré. I don't think you will ever see a man as happy as he was to be sent off. I think rumour has it he's still walking around Goodison now, hugging all the stewards and just living it up, because I've never seen someone enjoy kind of getting sent off as he did. But honestly, I think he's just the definition of Everton at the moment. He's wearing the badge with pride, and that's what we want to see from players. And all of the spill after the match with Curtis Jones and everything, it is what it is. But I think every Everton fan enjoyed the moment, and Doucouré especially did.
I think he certainly did. There was definitely limbs. I think definitely limbs at the end of the back of that important goal. And we do have people in the chat as well join us. Graham joins us in happiest red card in history as he refers to that. And of course, giving credit, of course, to our wonderful Danny. I'm sure he'll let you have this one, Rebecca. That was a thunder bastard from Tarkowski, as he calls that. It was pretty epic. It was a fantastic Merseyside derby full of passion, fight. I think, as we said prior to the game, if I recall, Grimmy, we were saying make it nasty, and I think they went by that. They went by that script. There was no doubt about that. Definitely was the way for them to go. Grimmy, what did you think from? I wouldn't say a neutral perspective, from not an Everton fan's perspective. How did you take that, and what do you think it means to Everton going forward as well? Something they can hang their hat on for the last game at Everton in a Merseyside derby.
Obviously the history of the fixture and the fact that it stopped from Liverpool from having more wins than them will be a big thing. I know that got mentioned a lot on the radio about how Everton were desperate to keep that level, or at least, if they could somehow nudge a win, that would have been great. But, it's one of those memories that'll stick around for years, and it'll always be remembered as the last game, the last Merseyside goal as well. Being an Everton goal is a special thing as well, because if it had been Liverpool getting an equaliser, it would have been a bit more of a lead balloon situation, I think. But I mean, one quick thing before I do go on to Everton is I do just want to criticize Virgil van Dijk for his post-match comment saying, "Oh, this is their cup final." It's like, if you can't enjoy an equalizer against your rivals in the last kick of the game, in the last game of the one of the most iconic stadiums in English football, what can you enjoy? If you can't enjoy that, you can't enjoy anything. And to be fair, Van Dijk and Liverpool are always being salty when it comes to results not going their way, or if they get a sending off or a goal go against them, they're always very salty in the post-match comments anyway. So I wasn't too surprised by it. But even in that scenario, I was a bit like, come on, let them just enjoy something. But in terms of the long-term repercussions of it, I mean, I think this early run they've had with Moyes being in, I think it's what we discussed when Moyes was first rumored of it. I think we had a podcast just before he got announced, and I was very positive on him coming in. I felt like it would be a reboot for everybody, and he would just set them back to basics, and he's done exactly that. And like Rebecca said about Beto, he's been one of the main beneficiaries of Moyes coming in. He's the Moyes type of striker. He's quick, tall, got a bit of strength. Yes, he can boot it 50 yards above the goal every now and then, but he does have a decent finish. And up and down the pitch, you can see the positivity he's brought to the team. The confidence is there. The going for balls 50-50. You've got Doucouré celebrating, getting sent off. I mean, that's a team environment that Moyes will bring. And with a summer of investment and a new stadium and a bit more of a positive vibe to Everton, it's the building block that they've been looking to get. And it feels like this might be the start of something, a start of a sunnier period, shall I say. I'm not going to say they're going to go and win the Premier League in 5 years, but like, you know, something that Everton would have wanted to continue once Moyes had left the first time.
It does feel a bit of a reset, doesn't it? And Moyes coming in is that callback, that positive aspect coming through. We'll get onto the stadium shortly because obviously there's been news with that's kind of officially opened now as well this week. So there's plenty of positive stuff happening here. Just go to the chat quickly as Jen is praising your shirt, Grimmy. Loves a good Grimmy shirt, of course. Grimmy's wearing top shirt. He knows his stuff. And Graham is another man who knows his stuff because he's talking on your point of Van Dijk. Grimmy says, did Liverpool not celebrate a 2-2 draw with West Brom at Albion? They did.
Yeah, they did. It was Klopp's. I think it was like one of Klopp's first games, and like Henderson, I think, scored a last-minute equaliser, and then they were doing the whole waving their arms at the cop and this, that, and the other. And it's like,
it's fine. We seem to have this nature, like, and I get it because like the Premier League is starting to. We can't celebrate goals anymore. It's like, why are we watching? Why are we watching this game if it's not to have moments of passion and excitement? And I mean, Grimmy, you'll agree, to celebrate a Desmond at any time is 100% acceptable, and particularly in that scenario. And as you said, like, yeah, it's Everton aren't in cup finals at the moment. They're not fighting for Premier League, but the one thing that they look for is that match against Liverpool, and it means everything to Liverpool too. You know, that if Liverpool had won that game 3-2 in the last minute, don't tell me that they wouldn't have.
They would have been celebrating that. Absolutely, yeah. They were 100%. They would have been, and it was the same when Liverpool were in the maybe not as bad a position as United are in now, but we're in the position of they were really only getting the cups or maybe the odd European trophy. They would have been, if they scored a winner at any time, never mind the last minute against United, they'd have been out of the seats. So it's ridiculous that the fans or a team can't enjoy a goal. It's just what are we doing?
It's mad. The celebration police, as Graham says. And of course, our super oracle with Shah. I hope your eye is feeling better. But even with one eye, the oracle that is Shah knows this. He said, "You remember saying bring Moyes back on a pod before they appointed Dyche? Need to see this happen again." So happy it has. And rivalries are what makes football, says Jen. They certainly do. So fantastic, exciting, dramatic stuff kicking off at the end as well, Rebecca, which then takes you nicely into another game at the weekend. You then get a Crystal Palace thinking, what can be done? And you've gone and blooming won again. You've gone and picked a 3-pointer up away at Palace. How was that game?
Yeah, we didn't really know how we would bounce back from the derby because it was like, we're getting into 100 minutes, you're thinking, right, how are they going to be for Saturday, whether they're going to be fatigued and everything like that. But there wasn't a sign of that. We did have to make changes with Doucouré being suspended and still being at Goodison doing his lap of honour, and Dye getting injured. So we did see Alcaraz and Harrison come into the starting 11. We did have a very limited bench, and I'm not one to start crying over like, oh, we've got this many injuries like we've seen the media do with Tottenham's list, but it was a case of we had 2 keepers. There were only 2 outfield players that were over the age of 21 on our bench, Ashley Young and Michael Keane. Tim Irabuman, he was on the bench as well, so he was like our 3rd classified first team player, and we have 4 academy lads on there, all under the age of 21. So we didn't have much depth on the squad, on the bench, but we made do with what we did have. Palace did start a bit better than us. They did have chances. Quite a few that were challenging. Pickford, one hit the bar, and then they also had the one that was ruled out for going out, which I think that was like a 5-minute VAR check, I think. But that's like another thing. Sorry, going back to the Merseyside derby when you're on about like you can't celebrate a goal. VAR also takes away that love of celebrating a goal, because the 5 minutes that it took to VAR Tarkovsky's because it was either offside or there was a foul. It's one of them where they give us 2 chances to celebrate, which we're happy with, but it just took away loads, because then you're like, oh, for God's sake, here we go again. Especially with what it's like in the ground, because all you see is that big purple screen saying VAR checking goal. There's no replays, there's no nothing. It's just that purple screen staring at you for ages. But we're back onto Palace. But yeah, the VAR check. We did have a few half chances, but nothing that caused too much issue for Palace until a breakaway from one of Palace's throw-ins, which it's really weird seeing things like this happen, because it's always Everton that will do the throw-in and someone scores from it, or we'll take a corner and they score from our corner. So it is nice to experience it from the other side for once. But a throw-in found Alcaraz, his pass met Beto, who is scoring for fun at the minute. So again, it's just another example of how confident he is feeling under Moyes, and also that Moyes is working with his strengths and he's helping Beto work with his strengths rather than thinking, right, well, you're not as good at this, so we'll focus on this. It's like they're more supporting Beto with what they know he can do, and we're playing to his advantage.
Playing to his game, essentially, yeah.
Yeah, getting it as we need to. So it's like the ball past Henderson, and then half-time 1-1. So you're thinking, right, how are we going to come out second half? Because again, you've always got the thing of how fatigued are they? We don't have much on the bench. But no, they scored before. No, they scored on the stroke of half-time, I think it was, or after. I can't even remember. I was on my way back from Morecambe watching it on my phone. It was an annoying one it was just at half time. It wasn't an annoying one to concede. It was just one of them where a ball in, legs going everywhere, ball going everywhere, and then the Palace found the end of it. But it is what it is. We carried on pressing. We had chances from Beto and Lindstrom, who, again, Lindstrom is a completely different player under Moyes. Along with Jake O'Brien, he's given him a chance to prove himself, and he is. And the back three of the defence allows Mikalenko to then be able to get higher up the pitch. So it is a different formation that we are going for. And then Alcaraz, on his first start for Everton, win, an assist and a goal. So I don't think he could have asked for much more from his first start. But yeah, it's another great 3 points, sees us climb higher up the table. And it's one of them, I think we're 19 points now away from relegation. So if we're still classed as being in a relegation battle, can I also point out we are 19 points away from Champions League? So does that put us in a Champions League battle as well?
Yeah, why not? Because that means that we are Grimmy, so I'll say that.
Jog on with that one, I think. Put it kindly. I think we're getting anywhere near the top 10. I'd be amazed.
Yeah, I think next up for us, 12:30 kickoff, United at Goodison. So
looking
gonna
forward
be
to
another
that.
good one.
At least one of us is going to. At least some of us are going to be happier.
This is true. Someone's going to be happier. I get the feeling it might be you. We'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. I thought actually, watching the highlights and the bits that I saw, I thought Everton did quite well because Palace bossed the game pretty well early on. They were peppering the chances pretty early on, and obviously the goal came from that kind of crazy throw-in mix-up. But Everton took their chance. I thought it's just kind of showing that resoluteness, that Moyes kind of way of staying in the game, and not, in the past that would have been you'd be 2-0 down in the first 20 minutes, you'd be kind of out of it. But they really dug in, as you said, like knowing that you got a striker that's kind of finishing, got a bit of form about him, bit of confidence makes a huge difference to them. So yeah, it's a nice little run when you look at it. I mean, say take the FA Cup out of the equation, that's what 4 wins and a draw against Liverpool in a row in the Premier League. So they certainly deserve the position, and they'd be well clear of relegation at the minute. No doubt about it. And we'll come back to you in a minute, Rebecca, on the stadium. I'll go to Grimmy first. Have you seen anything of this new stadium, the Bramley-Moore Dock Stadium? They opened it the other day. Was it the under-18s, I think? Got
under-19.
Under-19 had the 10,000 that went in there. What do you think?
I'd seen... Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you like it? Do you like does the design entice you?
I don't know. I always find it strange looking at empty stadiums because I always want to see it with the fans in. So seeing the stand with 10,000 in, I was like, oh, okay, I can see. It feels from that it's going to be quite an intimidating stadium to be in, to play as an away team. Like it feels like it's going to have quite a bit of atmosphere. So again, like Goodison, really taking that sort of atmosphere and putting it into the new stadium is a smart move, because I always remember West Ham playing in Upton Park, their old stadium.
Yeah.
And then they moved from that sort of like really closed in old stadium to the new Olympic one. And obviously you've got the track in between the pitch. So the fans are almost pushed away, and it takes away sort of that element that they used to have at home of being able to sort of get on top of the opposition. So if Everton have got that going for them, as well as a fancy new stadium and everything else that Man United could only dream of right now, then yeah, I think it'll be a good time for them, unfortunately. I'm not bitter.
Not in the slightest. It's got that nice look about it. The fact it's sort of near the water and such. I think a lot of the stuff I'd heard today was that a lot of the fans were impressed with the stadium, liked it. I think they said transport needs a bit of work. There was problems, I think, with the local station, I think, and they also said it's tad nippy by the water. But just Everton coat sales are going to go through the roof. That's all they need to do. Stock up in the official store, and they'll be all right. Rebecca, what do you make of the news? Obviously, difficult because you're leaving Goodison Park behind. But what are you thinking, looking at the new stadium?
Yeah, I am excited about the new stadium. We have taken aspects of Goodison, like Grimmy was saying, about how close the fans are still to the pitch, and that was one thing that Everton fans made clear when the proposal went in for the new ground, and that was one of the main things that we wanted to keep, because again, like Goodison, anyone goes to Goodison and it can be hell for the away team. So to keep that going with a bigger capacity, it will work quite well in our favour. It does look really good. It is going to be bittersweet because Goodison is like all anyone's ever known and loved, but then it's like it's this new era of Everton that we seem to be heading into, which I feel like we need, because it's like we have had this up and down with FFP, points deductions, like everything. We seem to just hit this point of relegation battles, which is what we've had for the past 3 seasons. So to have the new stadium to look forward to, it is something that you can see grow with Everton now and see where we can take Everton next. But it will always be sad having to say goodbye to Goodison, because, I mean, I don't think you've got any other stadium in the Premier League that still has the Bullens Road that has wooden seats and wooden floors. It's just one of them. Everywhere you look, there's a obstructed view. So it was like loads of photos from the new ground last night. It's just not the same. They've missed the pillar in front of them. Or
I can see the entire pitch. I don't like this.
Oh my God, I can see the corners.
I think if it was the start of the season, seeing the entire pitch might have been a problem, but now I think Everton fans want to see the entire pitch now, don't they?
Yeah, it is exciting. It's like Goodison Way as well is like a huge floor design thing that we've got going. So it's like fans have been able to buy little stones, and then there's going to be Everton legends on there. And that's like another very exciting thing for me is we got my dad one for his birthday. I also put my name on it with his. So we've got that to go and see when it's finished and Bramley is there. So it's like there are little things to get excited about. The food looks quite good as well, which was quite exciting. But it is just a test menu, which really bugs me because if they don't keep them donuts, I will cry because that is one thing that I want when we go. But yeah,
you need good food on a trip to a stadium. If you don't have good food, it's partly ruined, I think.
Yeah, I think another thing that people were saying was there's like a lighting issue towards when they were leaving. So no one could see anything because there's like not much lighting around. So it's like there are still little things that need to be sorted, but it does look really exciting. But a lot of people were saying you get sore knees walking right to the top if that's where you're sat because it is a very steep wall, they're saying. So yeah. Exciting. Although we did get beat, which is very unfortunate. We got beat 2-1, so and Wigan scored the first goal at Bramley Moor, which doesn't sound great. But I think it was Roy Rogers, I think he's called, a 16-year-old, scored a penalty for Everton. So he's the first Everton goal scorer.
There you go. That will be a quiz question one day. So note it down. Note it down in your books.
I was thinking the exact same thing. That's a pub quiz question if ever I was one in Everton.
That is, with the name of Roy Rogers. That's a perfect pub quiz question. And so, yeah, all very exciting. Graham says the only downside to new stadiums are they're all quite similar in their bowl design and they don't have the same soul of the old stadiums, but I guess it's all part of progression, isn't it? I think it's the same with anything. It's kind of, it has that nostalgia feel, doesn't it? I just got rid of my old car and I had a nostalgia feeling because, I used to have to de-ice the inside and all the rest of it. And it was sad to get going. And then I got in a new one that didn't defrost on my head, and it's quite nice. I found it's quite a nice change of pace. So yeah, unfortunately, times have to move on, and exciting times. Once you'll be there, a few games next season, it'll all be different. But we do have to move on because there's other games, there's other stuff going on in the Premier League, and I'm just going to throw it to Grimmy. Which game, Grimmy? Which team would you like to talk about? Talk about any of them.
I mean, do we have time for a therapy session?
Oh, it's becoming weekly. I don't know if I can afford it.
Like, honestly, like I have seen some things this season. Like I have seen some tripe, and I know I'm a Man United fan, so me complaining about seeing bad football is like, privileged position, over the past 20 years or whatever. But my God, I do not understand what is going on at my football club, Sam. Our football club, sorry. Like, I cannot figure out what the plan is. If the plan is to be terrible and just take whatever comes until the summer, way. Fine. If that is what we've got to do, if we've got to get to the summer and be terrible, but rebuild in the summer. But if we are doing this and it's not going to get better in the summer, I generally don't know if I'm going to be able to cope. I think I might have to block Man United from my Twitter, block the term Man United on my Twitter, so I don't get some form of depression in August when the season starts again, because I'm genuinely worried that we're not going to win more than 3 games before the end of the season. It's got to that point.
The thing about that, man, they need to stop tweeting, full stop, because it's just that just to see the posts that go out there, and you're just like, yeah, it's just, I keep swearing, just shouting about the fact that you brought a youngster on for 3 minutes. Shouldn't have been on for 3 minutes. Should have been on for 10, 15, or not at all. Why was he on for 3 minutes in Chinese Orbit? It was bloody ridiculous. It's very difficult to be positive doing a Football Premier League podcast every week with what's going on currently, because it's abysmal. It's just the worst case of mismanagement over the past decade and a bit that you could have imagined. We all knew, I was at the Fergie years, and you knew when that was coming to an end. There's a massive change, but to the downfall has been horrendous. Yeah. and just also the fact that now you're adding to that the tripe on the pitch, the stuff off the pitch. Every story that comes out is cuts. This is another hit to the Man United people. Is another hit to the people that have been there for ages. The fans are paying higher prices again to save £2 million. The Glazers take 35 million quid worth of dividend interest. They've got interest payments worth that. You know, they're taking dividends out every year, and there's that. You just think,
yeah.
Ineos and the absolute icing on the cake this week I saw was the fact that Ineos sent an email round, or the senior manager sent an email round. Don't leak this email. So it got leaked. Of course it did. Of course they're going to leak the don't leak stuff.
How would it not?
Just.
But see, this is the thing though, because when we a long time ago now, but when we last won the Premier League title and Fergie was walking out in that last game at Old Trafford, my granddad, who had been through the Busby Babes, had watched us win the European Cup in the 60s, had been and watched us get relegated, and was behind the goal when Dennis Law scored against us for City, and saw everything top to bottom that Man United could possibly throw at a man supporting them. When Fergie was walking out of that pitch and saying goodbye to everybody, he was like, just be prepared for what this next period could be, because it won't be anywhere near what it's been like the past 20 years. And of course, at the time, I thought to myself, it won't be too bad. Like, yeah, we'll have a dip, you know. And I expected us to be like a top 10 team consistently and, you know, be all right in the long run. And I didn't think there would be a breaking point for me to reach as a Man United fan. And oh boy, are they testing me this season, because there have been moments where I've gone, this might be where I turn off for a couple of games just to save my sanity. But then they do silly things like get a 2-2 draw at Anfield, beat City 2-1 at City, and give me hope. Knock Arsenal out the FA Cup. Like, why do they do this to me? If you're going to be terrible, just be terrible, and then I can just accept it. But
just get on with it, yeah. It's
those
moments, those flashes.
Anthony scored 3-4 goals in the Liga.
I saw that. I saw that. But what I will say about that, because everyone gets excited about it, was the technique for the goal he scored the weekend was good. It was right at the goalkeeper, and he had never had that time in the Premier League. It was like, and he's playing like free. He is playing free because the weight is lifted as well.
Yeah,
that's a huge part of it.
But even
if dragging everyone down,
if even Anthony's leaving our club and doing anything, and he could have passed the ball to another player, and that would be considered a success for Anthony. He has gone to another league and actually he's probably going to get nominated for Player of the Month the way he's going in his first month at the club. Like, what is even happening? And then I've seen people suggesting we get Pogba on a free till the end of the season, and I'm like, please no.
We got, and then you look at it, and the other week I was like, again, yeah, that's ridiculous. And then you're like, we haven't actually got any centre midfielders. I'm really worried they're going to do it. They're going to do it. We have no one. We have no money. We're going to splash all the money we've saved on Rashford's wages and chuck it straight at Pogba, which would do nothing to improve the team cohesion. And I just think it's just mad.
But this is the thing.
On all levels, it's mad.
Yeah, 100%. But this is the thing. Now, I don't want to call Rebecca out on her math skills here, but she did say 19 points before for Everton. It's actually 13 points for Everton and 12 points for United. So
you've gained 6 points, Rebecca. You're in the fight. You're in that Champions League.
I'm ahead. I've added 3 for United and then 3 for next.
Yeah, you've jumped ahead. I understand.
Fair.
It's easily doable. But I generally had a conversation with myself yesterday where I was like, do I put a tweet out saying that if United get relegated, I will do the first Thursday night podcast with Char and Co in a Leeds United shirt? And I generally thought to myself of just to try and like put something out there where it won't bite me. But then I was like, well, that's the thing that's probably going to bite me if I do something like that.
It. The season's done nothing but bite us. That is just you're just absolutely seeding the final.
So we could be 9 points above the relegation zone with 12 to go after Saturday.
Well, the problem is
terrifying.
It is terrifying because you look at the next 4 fixtures and Everton are in that really great, rich vein of form. So it's the worst time. We could have probably walked into Everton, but then off the back of that, you've got Ipswich. Yeah, you got Ipswich. I don't fancy that. There's nothing I fancy in terms of playing anybody because we've looked awful against Saints and Leicester recently. We've got Leicester on the horizon. That's poor. Arsenal maybe turn up because it's a performance, but we've now got this crazy situation. We've only got 11 fit players. We had an entire bunch of, we got the school bus out at the weekend to take them up there. We had no intention of bringing them on, so it was like a school outing on the bench.
I'd have just played them.
I would have done. I got to a point where it's like I'm watching this trash from the same players that aren't just at least they'll get given the grace of the fans because we always do with the young players, and they'll get that. It will take a little bit of the heat off, and they'll be kind of that. Just see what they can do, at least for like 10, 15 minutes. Give a couple of them off because some of them were putting in some absolute awful performances again out there this weekend. And it's just time after time.
I'd never play Casemiro ever again. Regardless if we've got no midfielders, I wouldn't play Casemiro again.
Because you're having to negate so many things to put him in there. You have Casemiro in there. So what you do is you're overstretching Bruno into about 3 different positions because he's got to cover out wide on the right because they couldn't have Xerxes do it because it was a mess when they did it against Newcastle. So they had him in there, which then means he's not on the ball to create. He's far too much trying to get around too much of the pitch. And then you're losing. And then everyone's like, Bruno had a crap game. You're like, he did, but he's also doing 3 roles. Because the system's wrong, because you've got to fit Casemiro back in. I get they were forced to because of the injuries, but surely there's an academy lad that plays in centre midfield that can run around a little bit. I would have thought most 18-year-olds are pretty quick with good stamina engines. Like that's literally what we need. And maybe you get that bit of fresh. But for me, it was the minute I saw the Amad Diallo injury last year, I was like, I'll just sack it off.
Well, we messaged each other, and to keep it PG, I said, we are in danger. That's the kind way of what I said.
Deep doo-doo was what Grimmy was referring to there. It's not good. But then also when you did look at the game, in general, it was a poor game between poor teams. And we should have got something out of it. That's what's ridiculous. We had enough chances that we should have. A better team would have buried us. But
never mind better. Any team would have put them away. Even Southampton. No offense to Spurs, but Southampton would have put that away. Like
that Garnacho miss just summed it up for me. You know, not even close. It wasn't even close. I just
don't understand why football players think they have to absolutely put the foot through it every single time.
This is a man who Rebecca scored the spectacular bicycle kick last season, and then you're thinking 6 yards out, just even anywhere near the frame of the goal.
Tried to do a Tarkovsky and failed.
The concern I have with United is I don't see how it improves even in the summer. That's my concern, is I don't see how we're going to get rid of the players that we need to get rid of and bring in what we need.
There's so much to do. There's still so much to do. And then also now you get to the back with you don't trust, you're losing any trust in Ineos because the decisions that have been happening, none of them have worked so far. Ashworth came in, they've hoiked him out, decided to keep Ten Hag and then had to hoik him out. Amorim's their guy. Recruitment's not been great. We're still struggling in terms of money and FFP. They're hacking all the fans off. They're in love with the Glades. There's just, the list goes on. Nothing seems to be any better. And you say, I can't see in the summer. You just want to see some progress. And that's the thing. Like Graham talks about the Amorim formation. Will it come to a point where Amorim has to change his formation this season, the group of players? Yes. He's adamantly said he ain't doing it. But I need to see that there's hints of something there. Do you know what I mean? I'm not expecting the world at the minute. And I think a lot of United fans aren't. You just want to see that there's a pathway to something better. And I'm watching these performances going, what on earth? Like, I get there's no bench. I get there's injuries. But you've got 11 players out there that should be doing a job, should be able to compete. And then large portions of these games, they're not. And then we're still struggling with FFP despite the fact we've had to offload a load of players with massive wages in January. And so you're not sure where we sit with that when it comes to some of it. It's really, I get it. This is all context, and we'll talk about this when it comes to like lower league. And I know there's teams that have clubs going out of existence. It's never in that, but from a Manchester United fan's perspective, it's all about context. Like it's your own problems, and your problems are your own problems. Some people are going to have worse or whatever. You can't compare. But from a United's perspective, it's just so negative, and it's at a time where Liverpool are probably going to win the league, so that doesn't help. City have had a dip, but have bought £180 million worth of players, are worryingly winning cases against the Premier League as well already before we get to all of that stuff come through. And you're just thinking...
If they come out and don't get charged for anything, I want Ineos on the front of that shirt next season with like a £200 million sponsor.
Yes,
straight away. If City get away with it, then that's the end of financial fair play as we know it, because no one will ever get charged with anything ever again. Mini City run over.
But there we go. We could go on about United.
Right, okay, sorry, we can move on to Manchester United now. Sorry, guys.
They were trash. 15 minutes. They deserve to be where they are. Let's talk about another game. Let's talk about something more positive. More positive, Rebecca. Ipswich Town. Who thought we'd come to Ipswich Town for positivity? They drew at Aston Villa with 10 men. Can they stay up now, Rebecca? Can they do it?
I think the last team in the relegation is going to go down to Wolves and Ipswich. And I would love to see Ipswich stay up, but you just don't know if they can. I mean, it is a huge point in their fight for survival, and you are seeing flashes of positivity within their team. I mean, Liam Delap on the score sheet, he has been a solid one for Ipswich, but I do feel as though they are still suffering with little issues in terms, like, I feel like they struggle to get a run of form together. Like, they can go with a draw, a win, but then it's like a few losses, and then there's just no consistency in terms of they could do with like getting quite a few draws or wins altogether. But I sound like Sean Dyche saying that nearly. I don't want to say what he said. But it's like, it's a shock that Villa were to get a draw against the 10-man Ipswich. But I mean, fair play to Ipswich. They dug in deep and were able to keep a very strong Villa side in terms of they were all over them with the stats. I mean, I think it was like 72% possession. I know matches aren't always based on that, but they were doubling their shots and everything. So, I mean, fair play to Ipswich. And if they can stay up, I think these are the matches and the way that they perform that they have to continue with to be able to survive in the Prem. But it will be an interesting one to see how far this can go between them and Wolves.
It certainly will. And I was really impressed. Their goalkeeper was sensational at the weekend against Alex Palmer. Made some phenomenal stops. And to be honest, the goal that they can see nothing about because it cannoned off the bar from Rashford and fell straight to the player's feet. So it was Watkins, wasn't it? So yeah, they're doing, I think, to take the lead as well with that 10 men. And I know Villa have been a little bit prickly with post-Champions League games, but they've had a bit of a break now and just missed a lot of chances. I mean, they had all the talent was out there at the end. I think they had Watkins, Rodgers, Rashford, Asensio, all kind of having opportunities, and they're the kind of if Ipswich can follow these like big momentum sort of draws, dig in with something in a home result, then they might be all right, but. Because you do now look at it and go, possibly it's them. It's you would imagine from those four. I can't go back into a conversation with anybody above getting dropped in. Just don't want to go back there. But it's just that home win. But then you also look at it and go, and I think as Heather says here, she says like I hope it's Ipswich. I have to say Wolves look good in the last couple. Wolves were good against Liverpool on Saturday. You know they put in a good effort and. Arguably could have got something out of it, but fair play. Ipswich fighting away. It's what you want to see them. Grimmy, what are you making with switching it the other way to Villa at the minute? Because as we said, no Champions League this time. The league positions right. I mean, they're still in the latter stage of the Champions League, but I know Emery's an absolute master of European competition, but they're ninth at the moment. Brighton just behind them, Brentford. Where do you take where Villa are at the minute? Because they've obviously done some stuff in January with the intention that they think we can give the Champions League a go and we think we can get European football.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the past 4 games they've not won in the league, which is uncharacteristic of Villa, really, at the minute. I think the forward line probably did need a bit of a refresh, and they've probably made the right moves in January to try and do that. Whether or not they'll be able to go that far into the Champions League, only time will tell. I think the luck of the draw is going to help them, obviously. But also, it's to be said that the players are going to be more motivated probably in the Champions League games than they are in the Premier League, because it may be a one-time deal that you get yourself into a quarter-final or a semi-final of a Champions League and have a chance to make history. I mean, look at Spurs. So they've not been anywhere near a Champions League final since they got there. So, you've got to take the opportunities while you've got them. But in terms of the league, it's a strange one. It's like, if you look back on the previous fixtures and scores, I mean, again, I was as surprised as anybody that they managed to draw against Ipswich. I thought home game with the players that they brought in, it seemed like Villa would be able to put that away, but they've just not been able to put teams away like they used to. They've had, I mean, the last win was against Leicester, and that was at home, a 2-1. They've just not been scoring goals as often as they should have, and that's why they've brought in the forward line that they have. But in terms of the next set of fixtures as well, you've got Liverpool and Chelsea. Palace away is never a fun one, and that's for the rest of February, so it could go on a little while longer. I hope for their sake it doesn't, because I think if they do drop a couple more points, they'll probably be out of the Champions League race. They are 6 points back now, so any more losses on ground on there, I can't really see them putting that sort of run together. It would have to be like what Newcastle did in the middle of the season, where it was like, was it 8 or 9 games in a row? Mm-hmm. I think they'd have to do that. So yeah, Villa are struggling for goals. I mean, the goal difference is -3, so that tells you that's their main problem. So if they get Rashford firing alongside Watkins, then maybe they can go up those extra few positions and get Europe again. But I'd struggle to see them get Champions League at the minute, the way they're playing. With the way they're not scoring goals in the Premier League is what's causing them the most harm, I think.
It's a tough ask, isn't it? Because I mean, while the points difference it's not that far, but you look and really say, okay, just above them, Fulham have had a couple of decent results, but you'd think Villa potentially could above that. Newcastle have had a couple of shakies, and they did this last time they reached the EFL Cup final a few years ago. They went a bit wobbly around that time, so that might affect them. Chelsea are in a little bit of free fall as well. They're not playing quite as well as they are. And then you've got Bournemouth playing fantastically. You've got City now looking a little bit more rugged and together with the additions they've made over January have bolstered them again. And then Forest and that are quite far away. Forest are 9 points away from them. So I think it's a big ask, but they say they've got the players there, and maybe this is it. If they get the chance to go for it for Champions League, then bloody go for it. Have a as you said, maybe once in a lifetime opportunity. Graham thinks Everton are going to pick Villa for Champions League. So
Rebecca believes, she's nodding with confidence there. But the other thing we have to take into consideration is top 5 is probably going to get you Champions League. And if Villa end up being the club that gives you Champions League, and then they say they finish 6th, you'd be devastated, wouldn't you? You get like the semi-final, the final, and then you just fall that little bit short to get there.
Right.
But
if an English team wins the Champions League, is it 6? I don't know.
It depends. I guess it would depend on where they finish in the league, I guess. So like if City finished 6th and won it, or 7th, then probably, I would imagine it would be.
Go. There's almost half the Premier League in there. Be sensational.
We won't be in that half of the Premier League, so it's all right.
I'm not worried about Champions League this year. I have a Champions League mug at work, and it's staying in the locked cupboard. I'm not even looking for the key because it's not something I need to worry about this year. A team that so I won't go do too much into the game. I think we mentioned it last week. Brighton, Chelsea, Grimmy, obviously the FA Cup. I said Brighton would do it again. I said that it would be. I said 2-1, but it was 3-0. Can we just have a moment to appreciate the touch of Koro Matoma for that goal? Have you ever seen? I mean, if you haven't seen the goal for Brighton, check it out. As it comes over his shoulder. He's got a defender on him, and he brings it down on his toe like. The only way I can describe the way it made me feel was like, do you have when your mum used to make like your favourite dinner or your favourite pudding or something? And it was like my mum used to make it was a treacle sponge with custard. Right. Oh, something else. When that got pulled out on a Sunday afternoon, you knew you were in business. That was a proper. And that first taste, and you just got all those tingles inside you. That's so. As I saw it, was like, oh, and it's not often I agree with sometimes Jamie Carragher, but he made a noise in commentary that I think I echoed as I watched the goal. I was like, oh,
Clip that. Someone clip it.
That was something else entirely. Rebecca, did you see it? What a touch! What a goal!
Incredible. He took it well. It was one of them. There was a similar situation at Morecambe and Accrington. I was like, why couldn't we have had Matoma? Why couldn't they have recreated that one? We need him in League Two just for...
I was going to say, a touch like that in League Two, it ain't going to be League Two, though. Not much often is probably the case. But Grimmy, because Matoma's one of those gone... He's had a good season, actually. Last season, he dropped off the ball. He had some injuries last season, but starting to come through. I know Brighton have been a bit hit and miss this season, but Matoma's certainly starting to show flashes of what we saw a few years ago.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like you say, Brighton have had that dip and probably needed some inspiration from some of the players. I mean, it's not just Matoma. Like the likes of Welbeck had probably gone off the boil from his early start in the season, and he's now starting to perk up a bit more as well. So it looks potentially like some of the key players are starting to wake up again, and that's probably going to hold them in that top 10 position, I would imagine, before the end of the season. It's going to be a tight battle to stay in the top 10 or in those lower regions of the top 10, because it's literally 1 or 2 points separating them. So any results could swing it one way or another. So a bit of consistency now for Brighton would do them a world of good.
It could be the case for them. And some epic breaking news coming out of Champions League. And Celtic have just scored to make it 2-1 against Bayern Munich.
I had that on in the background and I flicked it over to look at the league table for 2 seconds, Sam. See what you do to me.
Leave it off. They might score again.
This is it, Grimmy. You're a bad omen. Come on, Celtic.
Oh, they've just brought Sadio off the bench, so that's not a good sign. I'll switch it back off. Sorry.
There we go. Now, no mucking about now. That would be a shock. What wasn't a shock, what wasn't a shock, but they've not been in good form. We're going to go quickly to Manchester City because we have to talk about this new attacker they have, Omar Marmoush. He's a good finisher. I don't like it, Grimmy. What's all that finishing about?
Now, this is the irony, you see, because Marmoush was my star buy from 2 football managers ago when I managed Everton. I bought him for 4 million. And he, by the time I finished with him after 3-4 seasons, he was like 120 million value. I was like, so then when I saw City buy, I was like, oh no. I was like, I know what's probably coming here. And then when I saw him, even against Chelsea, even though he didn't necessarily get many shots off, his pace, his general play, his directness of being able to get into the right positions, I just thought they've got a player here. And then he went and did that against a good Newcastle team who defensively are pretty sound. Like, they're not any slouches in the defense department. So for Marmoush, I think it was 13 minutes hat trick or something like that. I think it was pretty quick. Back. Yeah. So I mean, he's going to be some player, I think, for them in the long term. Unfortunately, for the rest of the league,
he was. That first finish was so composed. I think there was a couple of Trippier didn't get close enough to him, but you can just tell, just someone that's that instinctive and cool the way he did it. And your only hope was it wasn't going to score for a while and it would dip his confidence, but nothing like a 30-minute hat trick to give you a little bit of confidence. So these certainly going to be one to watch going through. And Graham says, Grimmy, you switched off last week too when Bellingham scored. There's a pattern here.
I am cursed. It's official.
It is official. Rebecca, you had another game on your list you wanted to talk about, didn't you? It was Fulham beating Nottingham Forest. An excellent result for Fulham over Forest, who've had a bit of a stutter. They had that phenomenal result last weekend. The other week, we're waxing lyrical about them. They got stuffed by Bournemouth, and then they've had this result at Fulham. What did you make of that one?
I mean, both teams have been like up and down in form. I think they have been like okay at the minute. Well, Fulham definitely. I mean, I think in their last 5 they'd lost 1. I think it was. I don't know if that includes cup or anything. So, but I mean, it could have gone either way when you look at it, because they are both 2 very informed sides. Both got players that can score. I mean, Chris Wood again on the score sheet for Forest, which is a name that comes up near enough every week for them. He's a goal scoring machine at this point. It's just one of them where to see where Forest are in the league and everything like that, they have got a very strong strike force behind them, and it is proving it. But I mean, fair play to Fulham. Great cross from Traore to find Smith Rowe for the first one, and then Calvin Bassey, I think it was, secured off 3 points for them. But it was a match of chances for both sides, so either one of them could have taken it, but Fulham have. And I did kind of want Forest to take that one, so I do apologise to all Forest fans. I think I've jinxed you, but here we go. Just because to have them in the top 4 and battling where they are now, it just adds more to the league. Like I don't look that high up when in recent seasons. The bottom half of the table's more where I look, but it's like it makes it more interesting rather than just like the same generic teams up there. And it's like Forest can cause an upset, and they are doing so. Hopefully they can pick back up, and I do apologise for jinxing them.
They dropped some points, and I think Fulham had a bit of stick for their home forms. I think they were quite happy to get a home victory for a change. Chris Wood scoring again. FBL cheat code. If you've not had him in your FBL team, what's wrong with you? What's been happening? What's been happening? But so for Fulham, that's good. That puts them up to 8th as well. Fulham aren't out of Champions League. No one's talking about Fulham. I mean, that would be fantastic and a story as well. That would be pretty impressive. It's going to be an interesting end to the season in those European places. That is for sure. Any other games? Shall I get up the table, which would help if I'd have preloaded it before we got started? So bear with me in the background while I do some clicking and try and find the table in terms of what's happened. What else is going on in the Champions League, Grimmy? Have you got it on?
Someone's injured for Celtic.
He's wearing a Celtic shirt.
Is he Jeff?
Jeff?
Yeah, he's limping. He's on the side of the assistant at the minute. He's now stretching.
I want to know who it is.
It's number 10.
I'm just trying to find.
He stood facing me. He's not. His back isn't to me. Otherwise, I'd just read the name, obviously. But yeah, it's still 2-2 on aggregate. But
it's still 2-2 good. Right, so I'm going to have to do this in the background because I just realised it hasn't saved as it should have saved on this. I'm going to have to download it in the background. This is epic stuff because I was about to put a table up. I originally said Matchday 23 went on it. I mean, I like that one because we were a little bit higher, but probably not completely accurate.
So it just had a chance. Saved.
This is like when I was watching Dundee and Celtic the other week.
Oh, Rebecca, you should have seen us last Tuesday, man. Bellingham scored at the last minute, and we started celebrating like we were blooming Real Madrid fans.
It was literally just as we were about to go off air, and we held it. We held it as long as we could, and then bang, it happened right at the moment. Hey, Jude Bellingham, who then at the weekend then turned villain, didn't he? We weren't going to do European leagues, but did you see Jude Bellingham, of course, sent off for Real Madrid this weekend for some naughty language to a referee. Real Madrid always react.
Didn't the referee say he told him he was basically rubbish, but then he didn't actually say that. He just added the F word in the middle of the normal sentence, and the referee misheard it, and that's why he got sent off.
It was some nonsense or something or other. Yeah, I did see Real Madrid as they always act, with calmness and nothing rash or ridiculous one about leaving the league or something or other because such a situation, which does seem a little bit excessive.
I'd say we could join them, but I don't think it would be much better for us than La Liga, to be fair.
No, last thing we need to be worrying about is a Super League at the minute. I think just the Championship. This is the new league we have to be worried at. We don't sort ourselves out. Right,
sorry, Everton will be in the Super League before us. To be fair, I think they should be getting the props before that. The way they're going,
probably won't put it past him. Moisey loves a bit of European competition, European pedigree. That man, right? It's processing. We're working it all. Paul, our lovely Paul, has joined us. And look straight on. See, he's our Jeff Shreves. Jeff Shreves is there. Even Jeff. Nicholas Kuna is injured. There you go, Grimmy. That's who you're looking for. Straight
That
on.
was the one. Cheers,
And
Paul.
Paul says, Omar Marmoush is a proper inside forward, and there aren't enough of those. And Chris Wood is a cart horse who's suddenly become a racehorse. He's a hell of a racehorse. With Cheltenham coming up as well. He could be pretty good. But the table's not coming up for some reason. This isn't purposely, so I have to ignore the position that we're in. It just isn't loading up. So just trying to think of the other games we didn't get. I've got it on screen here. So we've got obviously Bournemouth won 3-1 at Southampton. I must admit, when Bournemouth scored 2 after a very short period of time, I thought Saints are in for an absolute disaster class here, which wouldn't be their first of the season.
No.
But did anyone catch that? I thought, to be fair, I haven't given Saints a lot of praise this season, and probably rightfully so, because there's not been much to praise. But Aaron Ramsdale had quite the performance, or it could have been an absolute free fall. He made some incredible saves in that game, but it just won't get noticed because obviously they lost the game. But there we are. We found it. The table. The table is here. Table is here. It's absolute magic. So we've got here, Southampton 1, Bournemouth 3 was one we didn't cover, as well as West Ham 0, Brentford 1. Brentford with a win on the road. They do this, don't they? Brentford, they go quiet for a couple of weeks and then they put a couple of results together, and then all of a sudden they sneak their way further back up. But again, a good win that for Brentford. And we've also got the only other one we didn't touch on. Yes, Liverpool beat Wolves, didn't they? Yeah, Liverpool beat Wolves. So Liverpool are still top at the moment by 7 points. They play Aston Villa tomorrow, I want to say. Aston Villa tomorrow. Intriguing clash between them coming up. And of course, that one at the bottom, which we did cover, Tottenham 1, Manchester United 0. So it puts Tottenham in the dizzy heights of 12th off the back of 2 wins. 2 wins in a row. They're absolutely flying. That's it, I think, in terms of Premier League. I didn't have anything else Premier League, unless you guys want to cover, but I do have, I think, a little cheeky quiz. So I thought we'd have a little cheeky quiz, because why not?
Is it football based?
No, it's based on puddings. Yeah, of course it's football based. Yeah, it's a football.
You were talking about treacle sponge before, so let's not me making pudding jokes right now. Sam, right?
That could be quite a tangent to go on to turn that into. Do you think that was a segue? Did you a segue for a pudding based quiz?
A very long segue, but a segue nonetheless.
Yeah, and just a little. It was more like an Easter egg, to be honest. It was about 20 minutes ago, so you have to chuck it in there just to see. They go impromptu quiz. Graham says everybody hates them. Well, I found a quiz here, which is called the Ultimate Everton Quiz, Rebecca.
Oh, God.
So you can imagine I'm coming here. Now, this Ultimate Quiz has 40 questions. So we're not going to do 40 questions because that's quite a lot to get through. But I'm going to ask you the first 10, you see. Oh, so look, Heather loves a quiz. We all love a good quiz. And it's multiple choice. So it gives you...
Rebecca's face is painting such a picture right now.
Rebecca is panicking.
No, I know random obscure stuff that will never be asked on a quiz. I don't know why I know it. It just sticks in my head. But the quiz questions that you're meant to know, I do not know.
But it's the ultimate Everton quiz, though.
It's ultimate.
They'll be from before I was born, probably. It was like last time we had.
To be honest,
a lot of stuff could be from before you were born, Rebecca.
There's a lot of history before you were born. Lots of stuff did happen in general that you missed, unfortunately. Now, I can only see the first question, so I don't actually know how difficult this is going to be. The first one's doable, so that's what I've worked it on. It's not too easy, but I would think it's possible. So, starting off, Rebecca, Everton's nickname is the Toffees. This originates from what? Is it a fan chant, a sponsor deal, an old team snack, or local toffee shops?
Local toffee shop.
Local toffee shops. There you go, correct. There were 2 toffee shops located in Everton Village when the club was founded. See, you know your stuff. Never.
The toffee lady going around Goodison, and then they throw out Everton mints. Well, they used to. They're no longer allowed to throw them for health and safety reasons.
Paul knows Everton mints. There you go. Rebecca is 1 for 1. Next up, The Everton lockup on the club's badge is sometimes referred to by what nickname? Prince David's Tower, Prince Henry's Tower, Prince Rupert's Tower, or Prince William's Tower?
Is this for me or Grimmy?
No, Grimmy's got a Man United one coming up.
Oh,
This would be a bit harsh for Grimmy to.
I was thinking. It says the Prince Rupert.
Prince Rupert. Correct. 2 for 2. Located in Everton Brow in Everton. I love how they put it in Everton, Liverpool. It's a Liverpool Everton ultimate quiz. I would imagine the people doing this quiz have a rough idea where Everton is based in. It's 2 for 2 so far. Flying.
She's Googling the answers, look.
No, Lincoln have just scored.
Never mind the Champions League. Lincoln are at it. Never
Still
mind
2-2.
Celtic. Still a Desmond. Right, Rebecca. Who has the most appearances for Everton? Brian Labone, Dixie Dean, Leon Osman, or Neville Southall?
Oh, God.
Or
I know.
Neville?
I don't think it's Dixie Dean because he's got like the most goals, I think, or something. He might not even have that, but he's like known for goals. Neville Southall. I don't know why I just got for him.
I was there a while. Correct. Southall made 751 appearances in 27 years.
I'm trying to find out who scored for Lincoln.
That's almost as many as Seamus Coleman.
You're in the middle of the quiz, Rebecca. Focus.
I know, but Ethan Hamilton came on and he might have scored for Lincoln.
Important news. Graham knew it. Graham knew Southall before he even had the options out. So, the chat know their Everton stuff. Question 4. I was trying to get me to do an account. So this will be interesting if this goes. Oh, it will do. No, it will go through. Otherwise, this is going to be a 3-question quiz. What was Everton's original name? St Bartholomew's Football Club, St Cornucopia Football Club, St Domingos FC, or St Tortugas FC?
Was it Domingos?
It was correct. Look at those stuff. Was founded by members of the congregation of St Domingo Methodist New Connection Chapel in Bretfield Road North, who wanted to play sport all year round, and they later changed their name to Everton. There you go. Because to be fair, the St Domingo Methodist New Connection Chapel FC is probably a little bit wordy.
Imagine getting that on your shirt.
Imagine getting that. What is the capacity of Goodison Park? 34,572, 39,572, 44,572, or 49,572. Give you a clue, it ends in 572.
39.
Correct. 5 out of 5. Not that this is putting any pressure on your quiz coming up, Grimmy, but Rebecca is slamming it.
If there's a guy that's going to be like having absolute anxiety attacks over the first question alone, it's going to be me.
Yeah. Explain what's wrong at Manchester United in under 200 words.
Everything. Full stop.
I was going to say that would be one hell of a absolute. That'd have to come out in volumes, I think.
To be fair, I did do my dissertation on the state of Premier League football finances when I was a wee young whippersnapper.
Maybe you need to get it out, and they might be able to use it in the case.
Updated version for 2025.
Yeah.
I'll do my dissertation on that, then we'll do an updated one.
The PSR edition.
Oh, to be fair, I did get a good score on my dissertation. It was one of the few things I did get a good score on a uni.
God, must be quite the read. We'll have to publish it one day. Right, I get a feeling you're going to get this, Rebecca, because you mentioned it earlier. Which player holds the record for the most goals, most goals in a season for Everton? Bob Latchford, Dixie Dean, Graham Sharp, or Roy Vernon?
Dixie
Dean. Correct. 60 goals in 39 games. Eat that, Erling Haaland. In 1927-28. That's a phenomenal total. Phenomenal total. Question 7. Everton won the European Cup Winners' Cup in which year? 1975, 1980, 1985, 1990.
Can I phone a friend?
I know you weren't born for these.
Absolutely not.
I think my dad was at the match, so you'll know.
Check his calendar quick.
Can I ask?
No.
No. Can I have the options again?
Grimmy's thinking I'm going to bring my dad in a minute, otherwise you'd have to get him on speed already.
Oh, well,
19,
that would be something if I rang my dad.
1975, 1980, 1985, or 1990?
85.
1985. Correct.
Oh, my God.
Qualified for it by winning the FA Cup the previous season. There you go. And Jen says she wasn't alive. Are you sure? You weren't alive in 1985?
I wasn't alive in 1985. Never mind anyone else.
Actually. Nor was I. That's how long ago it was. Paul says, imagine the chance if Everton hadn't changed the name. Fight, wherever you may be. We are the famous St. Domingo Methodist New Connection Chapel FC.
Has a ring to it, Paul. Has a ring to it.
I think I can hear that at Bramley Docks. I think that will go absolutely fantastically. Question 8. Who was the first non-British manager of Everton? Roberto Di Matteo, Roberto Mancini, Roberto Martinez, Ronald Koeman.
Oh, God. I don't even know the first two. Who came first? Oh, God, this is testing me now. I think, was Martinez before Koeman? I'm trying to think. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. This one's stressing me out. I'll go for Martinez. I think I'm wrong on this one, though.
Roberto Martinez. Correct. Appointed in 2013. 8 out of 8. Look at this.
Mine's going to be like, what was the attendance on the 20th of September in 1945?
What's the price of the sausage roll at Old Trafford in 1992? Next up, question 9. In what year did Everton last win the FA Cup? 1985, 1990, 1995, and 2000.
95?
I remember that one. I do remember that one. Yep, 1995, they won the FA Cup, beating Manchester United in the final. Devastated. Fortunately, we won it in 94 and 96, so I got over it. And we beat Liverpool the year after, so it was all right. Oh, one of my favourite questions of all time. Which club did Everton sign Marouane Fellaini from? PSV Eindhoven, Standard Liège, Watford, or Wolfsburg. This is for the 10 out of 10.
I know this one.
Oh my God. I walked out with him when I was mascot.
What was the height difference there?
It was, I think I was like just past his knee. But I was like, I could have been like 8 at the time. I'll find the picture.
It was last year, Rebecca, don't lie.
Yeah, it was. I'm there with like pigtails, blue bubbles in all of in life. No, I'll put a picture in the group chat because I still got the program, but there's like a huge height difference. He nearly trampled me because he started jumping up and down, and I'm just trying to walk beside him, and there's just little me there.
Calm down, Marani.
Oh God, right. Can I have the options again? I've gone off on a tangent a bit.
Right, you got PSV Eindhoven, Standard Liège, Watford, and Wolfsburg.
I'll go for Watford. I don't know why. No.
No, almost so close to the clean sweep. It was Standard Liège.
I don't know.
2006. So there you go. That was the ultimate. Everton, I think, did very well, Rebecca. 9 out of 10 is a pretty impressive. Pretty impressive score. And it puts a lot of pressure on penalty taker number 2.
I feel like David De Gea when he had to take a penalty against Villarreal in the Europa League.
What you mean after he failed to save the previous 17 or whatever it was in that? Graham wants the pick. Graham wants the picture of Fellaini on the socials. I think did you share it before in the group? I've got a feeling I've seen this picture at some point.
I can't
remember.
I'll see if I can
Grimmy, are you ready?
Who wants to have a laugh at Grimmy segment? This might be it.
Here we go. Which year did Manchester United win their first European Cup? 1960, 1964, 1968, or 1972?
Okay, the choices made that easier. 68.
1968. That is correct. They beat Benfica.
I thought they were going to go like 66, 67, 68, and 69, and I'd have been like, oh, God.
That would have been the tough one. No, that's 6, of course, 68, 10 years after the Munich disaster, wasn't it? That was the European Cup. When was Manchester United's first Premier League title? 91, 92, 92, 93, 93, 94, 94, 95.
Can you say the first two again for me, please?
91, 92, and 92, 93. I'll give you a clue. It had the epic commentary when we won it of Steve Bruce's doubleheader with just the commentators shouting.
No, I know the circumstances. I know the circumstances.
Which is always how Steve Bruce should be entered into a room in any room, I think. I can't believe they still don't do it.
See, what you've got to remember about this is I was either about to be born or I was about to turn 1. It was one of the two. So I'm going to go 92, 93.
He's going for 92, 93. Correct. They won the inaugural Premier League in 92, 93.
Because I think Leeds won it the previous year, but I wasn't in existence, so it doesn't count.
If you don't get this one, Grimmy, I'm disowning you because this is about as easy as it gets, to be honest. Who scored the winning goal in the 1999 Champions League final? David Beckham, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Ryan Giggs, or Teddy Sheringham?
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
It was indeed Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, yes. Teddy Sheringham scored the first and Ollie nabbed the second deep into stoppage time, if we didn't know. It's trying to get me to sign up again. Not happening. Right. Question 4.
What was in the chat? I found it.
Found it. Keep an eye. There you go. Keep an eye on the underscores. It's coming. Which player?
How man? That's ridiculous. The height difference. Oh dear me.
Has it come through? Here we go. Oh. You are literally up to just under the point of his elbow. Blues celebrate mascot success.
I was 7. I found out.
He's having a chat with you, though. Yeah, having a good old chat.
Right,
Grimmy. Which player holds the record for the most appearances? Bobby Charlton, Gary Neville, Paul Scholes, or Ryan Giggs?
It's got to be Giggs, hasn't it?
Correct. Ryan Giggs made a record 759th appearance for the club in the Champions League final of 2008, overtaking previous record holder Bobby Charlton, finishing his career with 963. So there we go. 4 out of 4. Oh, it's a capacity question. What's the capacity of Old Trafford in litres of water? 68,310, 72,310, 74,310, 76,310.
That's really awkward because I thought it was 75,000.
Not according to this. I don't know when this quiz was done, but
so I'm going to go for the 74,000 option.
74,000. The Theatre of Dreams correct can host 74,310. 5 out of 5 from Grimmy. Oh, which manager led Manchester United to their first double? Alex Ferguson, Matt Busby, Ron Atkinson, or Tommy Docherty?
It wouldn't have been Atkinson. I don't think it would have been Docherty. So logic would dictate that we would do 2 trophies at some point with Busby. But there is something in the back of my mind which makes me think we didn't. Oh, if my granddad was here, he'd be cursing me for not paying attention to his Man United history lessons. God love him. We'll go Ferguson.
It's going Sir Alex Ferguson. It's correct. It is Fergie. Man United won the Premier League and FA Cup in 93-94. They did the first double. The double. Oh, when was Old Trafford officially opened?
Oh, come on.
1800, 1900, 1910, 1920. This has taken a dramatic. They did ramp the difficulty up very quickly there.
Hmm. 1910.
I'm going for 1910. Survey says correct.
Oh!
Correct, Grimmy. It was
My gut
opened
was
in
20.
1910. And it's been renovated 8 times since.
Needs its ninth very quickly.
With one very, very overdue. That is for sure. Question 8. Oh, this is easy as well. How many league titles have Man United won? 18, 20, 22, 24.
Oh, yeah, that makes it easy. 20.
Do indeed. They sing about it, and I get the feeling we'll be singing it for a little while. Unless City get the charges and we get some backdated ones.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be singing about a league title for another 10, 20 years, I don't think.
I think it's.
Do you reckon we'll get one first? Everton or United?
Current form, Everton. Maybe we can bring Moyes back.
Town are going to get one before we go.
No, we're keeping.
Oh, Bayern have got one at the death.
Oh, cheeky,
No.
cheeky
3
Bayern.
minutes and 10 seconds.
As we get to the death of this quiz, where it's very tight because Grimmy has got 8 out of 10. Rebecca finished with 9 out of 10. So there's 2 crucial questions. Which stand, Grimmy, can hold the most supporters at Old Trafford? The Sir Alex Ferguson stand, the Sir Bobby Charlton stand, East stand, or West stand? Do you understand?
Sir Alex Ferguson. I don't think that's right.
Ferguson stand. Correct. Can hold 26,000. Grimmy is smashing it through.
Come on.
And it comes through to the final moment. It's 9-9 with Grimmy with a shot for victory. Here we go.
Oh, no. Okay. That laugh has not helped.
Who scored Manchester United's 2000th Premier League goal? What? Was it?
Mary, Jane, and Joseph. Go on.
Was it Anthony Martial, Henrik Larsson, Robin Van Persie, or Scott McTominay?
It's not either of the middle two. My gut. My gut.
20,000, Heather, not 26,000. I don't know. I don't think we're going to get there
My
anytime
gut,
soon.
Before you said any of the options, was Martial. Blink twice if it's Martial. No, I'll go.
Just talking to Martial, by the way, the thing that is absolutely, this is just another thing that wound me up. Anything to do with United when anybody leaves. He's been fit the entire season for Athens. The entire season that man has played. What? What on earth?
It's almost like our fitness team isn't up to scratch either.
Maybe.
So, yeah, Martial is what I'm going with there.
He's going with Tony Martial. 50 million down the drain. Did Tony Martial score again? The 20,000th? That's not 2,000. Oh, Grimmy, so close.
Oh, no.
So close.
No.
Oh. If I said to you, Super Scotty, it was Scott McTominay against Norwich in 2019.
I never liked that boy.
Does this mean we're getting a draw on Saturday then?
No.
Well, if it's 9-9 on Saturday, then
that is generally devastating.
Something
to do
else.
9 in a row and then get the 10th wrong. Like,
what's weird is that that you both got the 10th wrong, and this is a 40-question quiz, so it's not like they put 10 as the thing. It's supposed to go on. So, Graham, we're going to leave it as a fair 9-9 draw. I think we can't. We're all winners here. We don't need penalties.
we're not, are we? We're not all winners here. There's only one team being represented here that wins consistently at the minute.
At least I've got one. I have a choice of 3 teams, and they were all going through a bit of like a spell at once. So at least I've got Everton keeping it up at the minute.
My 2 teams that represent me, United are potentially 9 points above the relegation zone after this weekend. Blythe Spartans are like 15, 16 points away from even being anywhere close to out of relegation. Bottom of the table.
Aki were 4. I think Morecambe are 4 points off us now. And that would be us relegated out of the Football League. So that's scary. And Dundee benched Ryan Astley, so I've not forgiven them for that after Saturday. So, and they're also in the relegation.
Well, I've only got Man United and they ain't winning. So that's why I'm playing tennis. And I am winning, but I'm winning ugly. But I'm winning at tennis. That's the main thing. There's a win coming from somewhere because I can't rely on the other ball. Absolutely shocking at the minute. But what wasn't shocking? What a lovely evening and a lovely quiz we finished. Everything's fair. We've had a great time. It's lovely to be here. And of course we have to go. We've got plenty of shows coming up, which we're going to tell you about in a moment. But first of all, where can you follow Rebecca and potential pictures of you with marijuana for later from your youth?
I'm not going to do the point because as we found out before it started that my camera is still reversed, so that throws me off. But you can find me _Rebecca_Shaw_ and that is on Twitter and TikTok. You can find my Her Game 2 content at Her Game 2 ASFC, Her Game 2 Ice Hockey as well, which hopefully we will have some very exciting announcements coming very soon. I keep saying this, but they are coming, I promise. It's just, they're taking a bit.
Building the anticipation week after week.
And then you can find my F1 content along with the amazing Jen, who is on the Lower League podcast on Thursday, and that is with Girls in the Grandstand.
There you go. Check it all out. And Senor Grimmy, where can everybody find some Senor Grimmy action?
So I'm going to point because I learned where it was on my thing before we started. If you check out my YouTube channel, St. Grimmy, that's my video games channel. Big week coming up because the PGA Tour 2K25 early access is on Friday. So going to be putting out videos left, right, and center over the next week or so. Streaming left, right, and center over the next week or so. And really want to get the ground running on that series and all the good stuff. We'll be doing that on the streams as well. So it should be good fun. You can come watch me have a meltdown over a golf game. Like I've had a meltdown over this quiz. That's kind of the selling advertising for that there. And the other place to find me, other than this wonderful place, obviously, is the Taking the Pin podcast, which we've got a new episode coming out tomorrow. So, yeah.
There you are. Plenty of places to find Grimmy. And where can you find me? Well, you can find me on Twitter at SamAbsoluteFBL. And on my YouTube channel is actually at SamAbsoluteEFL. I've been doing championship reviews, trying to get more Matchday weekly championship reviews. I think I did one yesterday. That's gone up. So trying to get a bit more regular with doing that because the championship doesn't hurt me. You know, I don't have a dog in the race. So it's just nice to cover something where you can be completely neutral. It could next season. What do you think I'm doing now? Should I start this next season? I was like, let's not risk it. Let's do it now. Let's do it now. I don't have to worry about it. And there we go. Sean says Grimmy hitting the ball better than Man United hitting the net. Things we love to see. We've got Graham. Did you watch Vengeance, Grimmy?
I didn't. I struggled to fit in the 5 hours of stuff that I have to watch for the podcast. So Vengeance was something that I had to skip, unfortunately.
I have found actually trying to watch. I like the fact it's on Netflix and for the availability of the wrestling, but I'm finding just trying to whiz through it to get to bits that you actually want to see is a bit of a pain in the.
Generally, what I do is like skip the intros. If people are coming out to the music and stuff, I'm like, right, I've got a good 2 minutes. I can skip there, and that saves me about half an hour. So.
Unless EO Sky's coming out, and then it's sacrilege, absolutely sacrilege to fast forward to that fantastic wrestler's entrance, not having any of that. But what we will have is the socials. The socials are here somewhere. But there we are. We are the best new content creators still all the way till November. We can shout about that. It is still the case. We hold the trophy. So Absolute Football Podcast. Yes, we are the Premier League team on a Tuesday, and we're on Wednesday as well. It is hashtag Team Chaos. Team Chaos with Freya, Paul, a team. I don't know who's on this week, but it's going to be a fun one. Lots of stuff to talk about. There's always controversy going on in the world of women's football that gets touched upon, but some positive news as well we've got this week. I think there's plenty going on. That is at Wednesday at 8:30. And on Thursday, the absolutely lower league with Shah. We'll have to see. Hopefully Shah's eye will be better. It may well be on Ants there. I might even be there on Thursday. Who knows what's going to happen this Thursday, but plenty to cover. Championship, League One, League Two, National League, National League North, National League South, everything and anything that they cover. Plenty of leagues and plenty of graphics that go on that show, that's for sure. Where can you find the Absolute Football Podcast? If you don't know, we are on Twitter, Absolute Ball Pod, YouTube and Twitch, Absolute Football Podcast, TikTok, Absolute Football Pod, on Instagram, Absolute Football Podcast _. On Blue Sky, Absolute Football, Facebook, the Absolute Football Podcast as well. We are everywhere, and that's it for now. Hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful week. Hope the football is kind to you, and if things are tough in the world of football, it can only get better. Or it bloody better do. On the next one. See you later.